one last look at what happens to Jack. He roars into corner number 1, and it's either he overcorrected or undercorrected just a tad. Hits that inside wall, then crashes hard. See his head ducked down? It's because he has no way of knowing exactly what's going to happen after he collides with the outside fence.
So Jack Haudenschild is done for the day, but appears to be in good shape physically. And meanwhile, Billy Pauch is right there in the familiar top spot.
But the next gunslinger to take a shot at Billy, look at how close Blaney is. Blaney wants to hit this restart right on the node. He goes up and practically touches Pauch. Pauch, there's no rearview mirrors. You can't turn around and look. Let's see how he handles this restart. It's Blaney, Kinzer, and Andy Hillenberg right behind Billy Pauch. Pauch accelerates the middle of the backstretch. Jeff Swindell looks to the inside. Pauch, a pretty decent start. He holds the line going through 3 and now 4, and Pauch gets away with about 5 car lengths.
All right, a good start once again for Billy Pauch, Dave Blaney, and Steve Kinzer, the top 3 in Syracuse, and Kinzer's trying to put a move on Blaney.
Kinzer really with a great start. Car a little loose going into the corner. It does look like Steve Kinzer's Carl Kinzer prepared machine. Perhaps not quite to the summit, but the other 2 cars are.
Now the question I have for you, Larry, is how fast do the tires go on these cars?
It's a very interesting question on a mile racetrack. They should sustain themselves for the entire race. They had the option of making the changes at the halfway point. They should go all the way if you have not been abusing them. When you slide out, when you spin the tires, that takes away a little bit of the wear.
Did you see how Billy Pauch had to jerk that wheel? He's constantly working it.
Handle's not there quite as much as it once was. Oh, coming to a stop there on the inside of corner number 4. This is Albuquerque, New Mexico's Johnny Herrera. Likely that is going to bring out yet another caution flag and another breath of relief for Pauch.
All right, about 2/3 of the way through our event in Syracuse, Billy Pauch holds down the number 1 spot, followed by Dave Blaney, Steve Kinzer, Andy Hillenberg, and Jeff Swindell.
Can Billy the Kid hold him off? Find out next on Prime.
Billy Pauch, the leader of the champion Sparkplug Nationals from the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse.
For Pauch, today is just a terrific day so far, even if it ended. He had never led a lap until today. Officially, he's led every one today, even though he's been passed once. Whereas, on the other hand, Dave Blaney, running 2nd right now, is ranked 4th on the all-time list of lap leaders in a sprint car race here at Syracuse.
What a great win it would be for Dave Blaney, who has his 32nd birthday coming up 2 weeks from now.
Restart. Kinzer dives to the inside. He feels this is his chance. Oh, Kinzer loses the line going into corner number 4. He comes back right in front of Greg Hodnett. Almost contact there. But Steve Kinzer, sensing, I think, what I suggested earlier, he does not have the race car. Thought he could out-snooker them at the start, but it cost him.
He was able to collect the car, though. That was absolutely incredible.
Terrific save. Enough said.
Now, Jeff Swindell did get by him for 3rd place.
So Jeff Swindell is up there. Hillenberg probably also slipped by, but it left a great advantage for the 2 race leaders, Billy the Kid Pauch, as we used to call him. He's up in years now. He's over the age of 21. We go inside with Billy, and Dave Blaney runs in 2nd.
Now, Pauch and Blaney have pulled away from the remainder of the field, but only about 3 car lengths separate our leaders. Blaney knows he can catch Pauch, but the question is, can he pass him?
He thinks he can, Doug, because Blaney has a lot of experience in sprint cars on a track like this, but most importantly in traffic. So even though he's not found the way to get around Billy when they have an open track, he's thinking right now, when we get to traffic, if I can be perfect and stay close, I'm going to be at the advantage rather than the disadvantage in traffic.
Is Pauch thinking the reverse then, and he's got trouble brewing?
What he's hoping is to run laps as good as he can. Billy is probably driving harder than he has all race long, trying to build up a little bit of cushion, which he has accomplished right now. The disadvantage for Billy is he never knows how far ahead he is of Blaney, but he's trying to build as much of a cushion between him and Dave as possible, so when he gets to traffic, he's got a little bit of insurance.
Now a look at 3 and 4. That's Jeff Swindell ahead of Steve Kinzer.
Kinzer almost lost as we go back up front. Remember, on the restart, so he's really made a great recovery. Now, with the leaders, Pauch continues to run as much as possible down on the bottom. So keep in mind one thing. Track is a mile around, but right on the rail. up on the second and third lanes where Pouch is forcing Dave Blaney to run. It's about a mile and a 16th, so he really makes Blaney work much harder by staying down at the bottom.
Now take a look at turns 1 and 2, how the tires smoke. This track is hard and slick.
We've had almost 250 cars enter the race. Oh, Blaney! Oh, right on the edge of the cliff coming out of corner number 2. Almost 250 cars compete here this weekend. A lot of rubber gets laid down. The track has been prepared quite well, and that's the way it gets, and it will eat up the tires if you're abusing them.
We were talking about lap traffic. Billy Pouch capitalized on lap traffic right there.
It was a combination of lap traffic and Blaney making a slight miscalculation. He was pretty anxious to get to the high side to get around the lap traffic. He got out of the part of the racetrack where the tires get a good bite on it and got into the dry, slick part of the track. That's why I almost spun out.
All right, let's see how Billy Pouch handles this.
Look at Blaney moving in. We told you before, lap traffic will play a big role, and this is why Blaney, I mentioned, he has to feel confident. He feels this is his moment. Keep your eyes on the blue and yellow Casey Luna Ford-powered number 10.
Perhaps the most dramatic part of this race, and Billy Pouch gets through that scuffle okay, but Blaney's right on his heels.
Pouch was very lucky because for a moment there, the lap traffic with Robbie Hart on the inside and number 86, they were side by side. They opened up the parting of the Red Sea just in time for Pouch, and he slipped through.
Clear sailing now up the front straightaway for Billy Pouch, but Dave Blaney has him squarely in his sights.
They're moving around the high side next of outlaw regular Steve Beitler. About 2 laps to go. Beitler will give him a lot of room. Blaney tries that fast sliding move out of corner number 2 again. See, Beitler's a little quicker than some of the other drivers from the area. He's harder to get around, and Pouch doesn't have it quite as easy. Beitler moves down to the inside, but still not enough momentum for Billy to surpass him.
All right, we're on the final lap, and Blaney goes outside Pouch.
Blaney has got the lead. Blaney, he's on the edge of that corner once again, and Pouch has got just about a half a car width. He somehow gets through. He squeezed between Beitler and Blaney, and Pouch may pull this one off.
All right, still lap traffic as they come out of turn 4 and down the front straightaway. Blaney ducks down low. Pouch takes it out high, and the checkered flag is out. Billy Pouch has won the Champion Spark Plug National.
A driver's victory. Pouch had a good car. The crew that you can see there waiting anxiously to rush out onto the racetrack as cars continue to pass by at 150 miles an hour. They prepared. You can see it was a religious experience winning this race. They prepared a good car, but Doug, that was a driver's victory. Pouchy did it.
Think about this extraordinary accomplishment, Larry. Billy Pouch, a non-outlaw driver, has beaten the likes of Dave Blaney, Steve Kinzer, Andy Hillenberg, and Jack Haudenschild.
It doesn't happen very often, and usually they're not out-driven. It's a superior car that puts them away. But Billy Pouch, he held on to his emotions today. This is sure to be a very exciting victory lane. He held on to his emotions, made very few mistakes, none, frankly speaking, that we saw on the TV coverage, and Pouch really performed well as an athlete behind the wheel. Before today, his best finish ever in this race, a 6th.
When we come back, we'll take you down to victory lane to talk with our race winner, Billy Pouch. How monumental is this win for Billy Pouch? You have to go back to 1978 and 79, the first 2 years of this event, to find a non-outlaw regular to take home the checkered flag. In 78, it was Bentley Warren. In 79, Smokey Snellbaker. Let's go down to Andy.
The champagne is flying here in Victory Lane. One of the Northeastern's favorite son has won its biggest sprint car race. Billy Pouch, you've beaten the world.
It's unbelievable, unbelievable.
Describe that last lap, the traffic problem holding off Blaney.
He got around me there 1 and 2, and I said, oh no, here we go. I leaped to the last lap, and he's going to get me. And thank God he was up high enough, he got loose, and I got back under him. And I'll tell you, Dave's one of the best drivers I've ever ridden against, and I got to give him a lot of credit. He gave me the room there, and thank God.
Haudenschild literally crashed himself out trying to pass you. How courageous do you have to be to run one of these cars?
Well, the best part of this race is stepping out of the car in one piece when it's over, and I'm just happy we're doing that. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable to win it. I mean, this is great.
Well, that was exciting.
Well, my car just kept freeing up, and you know, at the end there, we were faster than he was. And You know, I had a chance there on that last lap, and I missed it by 2 inches, I think, in the center of that corner and slipped in the dust a little bit and let him get back by me. Jesus.
Is it the kind of thing that you can predict, or you just saw a little opening when he got caught behind the lap traffic, a Beitler, just, I got to go for it?
Well, yeah, I figured he'd probably just try to protect instead of taking a chance there, and it was the only chance I had, so I had to do it. And I thought I had it made easy, and then it just got out from under me.
Needed a couple more laps, would have helped, eh?
They said it was 35 before we started.
Well, a very courageous race for the second-place finisher, Dave Blaney. Let's take a look at the zero moment of this event, turns 1 and 2. And you see that Dave Blaney saw an opening. He went on the outside, predicting accurately that Billy Pauch would take a very tight, protective lane. And Blaney almost had him, but missed it by a couple of inches. Well, as exciting as the last lap was for Pauch and Blaney, how thrilling was the start of the race for Sammy Swindell and the King, Steve Kinzer.
Oh, man.
At least we got one piece.
Hey, I guarantee it scared him. I didn't know where he was going. I thought he was going clear over backwards.
You one way than the other.
The celebration continues for Billy Pauch. We'll be back on Prime to talk with the King, Steve Kinzer. Back in Syracuse, what a day of trials and tribulations for Steve Kinzer. His last go-round on the Syracuse Mile, and this is a very telling moment as he tried to duck down low on Dave Blaney on the restart and then lost it up high. And we hear from the pits that the King has a very unexpected reaction to today's race.
Unusual. You think you had the car and you didn't win.
No, I think I had the car. I I got messed up. Andy went down there and spun out in front of everybody on that one restart and got me out in the loose stuff. And then the next restart, I sort of self-inflicted that one. Dave was protecting the top because I'd got around him once on the start there, and I got down under him, but he come, you know, he held me tight where he's supposed to, and I got down there against that mud there on the inside wall and it pushed, and then I had to slide back out it again, and there I went backwards again. But into traffic, I think I could get through the traffic a little better. I think my car should have won the race. Yes, I do.
Well, you've been really fast here before. You say you leave here with a great car, but is it a fitting tribute to your last time around Syracuse, or would you really have liked to pull it off?
I would like to pull it off. The worst part about it is, you know, I think I had the car to pull it off. I think in the traffic, I was by far, I was getting through the traffic better. You know, I don't know if it was the car or just back there where I was at, I was maybe running a little harder, what it might have been. But I should have won the race, I think, but whatever, I didn't.
Well, there he is, the King, Steve Kinzer, as he turns his back and later this year will walk away from the World of Outlaw sprint car racing circuit.
And the King did not have enough for Billy Pauch, who wins for the first time at Syracuse. Dave Blaney, a very close runner-up. The King was third. Jeff Swindell in one of the three two winners' cars from Marion, Indiana, comes home in fourth. Great race for him. Andy Hillenberg was fifth. Kenny Jacobs sixth. Greg Hodden at seventh. And Lance DeWeese, the first of the Eastern regular sprint car drivers. He started in 10th and he finishes in 9th position. Ed Lynch Jr., a good Syracuse weekend, finished was 9th. And Joe Gertie was 10th.
One more look at that last lap duel between Billy Pauch and Dave Blaney, as Billy Pauch has capped his biggest weekend of racing by establishing a new world speed record here at Syracuse and taking home first place money of $27,000. For Billy Pauch and his crew, jubilation. For Steve Kinzer, the king of outlaw racing, consolation. As Billy Pauch celebrates, we contemplate. Has the torch been passed?
The Champion Spark Plug Sprint Nationals is brought to you by Wheels Discount Auto Supply Stores, Faye's Drugs, obviously not your average drugstore, Champion Spark Plugs, and the Cooper Automotive family of brands, Sonico Race Fuels, and by Chevrolet. One automotive company has won more races over the last 30 years than any other. Genuine Chevrolet.
The Champion Spark Plug Sprint Nationals on the Chevrolet Motorsports Hour has been a production of Dirt Motorsports for Prime. Welcome to the New York State Fairgrounds, home of Super Dirt Week and the Wheels 300. Hi, everybody. I'm Doug Logan, along with Larry Newber. And Larry, this is the world's richest race for dirt track modifieds. And it's an event these competitors have pointed toward all year long.
Doug, it is very special. They have been racing here at the legendary Moody Mile from essentially the turn of the century. 48 competitors, the absolute best in this type of racing. Speeds approach 150 miles an hour. And it's a moment that not only makes or breaks a season for all those who compete here, but it actually affects their entire career. For every one of the competitors who races here, this is their dream.
Barefoot conjures up sunny days by the ocean, but in the Northeast it strikes fear in the hearts of grown men. The heaviest right foot in dirt track racing.
The master of going faster, Mr. Bob McCready.
His McCreary tire tracks have imprinted virgin clay. 45 times, his Guinea Drugs car number 9 crossed the finish line ahead of his competitors, disappearing from the rest. He is a complicated man, many things to many different people. He scored his greatest triumph in 1986 at Syracuse when he won the Wheels 300. Since then, he has tasted many victories and has always shared his rewards with his extended family of racing fans.
Moments before the start of this year's 300, I am in the pits of the master of going faster. And Bob, why have you been so popular over the years?
I think basically it's because you learn from your mistakes. I made some mistakes with fans early in my career that I felt bad about. And, you know, you rectify those things and you treat people the way you'd like to be treated. And I think probably that's the bottom line.
It's been another vintage year for McCready, almost 50 wins. Do you need a win at Syracuse to top off this fabulous season?
You need any win. It's like a fix. Any win anywhere. Syracuse is the biggest one of the pie.
Bob has a unique handicap this year, a problem with the knee, a serious injury just a couple days ago. Are you ready to go?
My knee's, you know, great. But there's Roger Horvath and Adrian Flath need our prayers, and they'd like to hear from you too. They really need some help. But my knee's fine.
Well, among the other players in this year's 300, the fastest guns in the East, here's their story.
In 1969, the fabled Viceroy Super Team of A.J. Foyt and Mario Andretti dominated USAC sprint competition at Syracuse. Now, a quarter of a century later, a new dream team rises to the challenge, featuring World of Outlaws sprint car standout Dave Blaney and 1987 Wheels 300 winner Jimmy Horton. 1993 was a season that both of these drivers would rather forget. Dave Blaney dropping out of the Wheels 300 while leading. And Jimmy Horton suffering one of the most incredible crashes in Winston Cup history, flying out of the Talladega Superspeedway. Now, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, they have joined together on the Duchess Overhead Doors Dream Team. Their goal, domination of the Wheels 300.
I'm standing with the most formidable team ever assembled for Super Dirt Week, Dave Blaney and Jimmy Horton. Dave, you're a sprint car driver and a sprint car champion. Why are you racing in the world's richest race for dirt modifieds?
Well, my dad come up here and run for a lot of years and still does, and we used to always come up and help him, and I got a chance to drive some good cars, so we just keep on trying to win it.
You have a great car. You've turned some outstanding speeds. You're on the pole. Can you keep it up today?
Well, I think the car's good enough. If we can just keep it out there all day and have a chance at the end, that's what we're looking for.
Joining Dave on the Duchess Overhead Doors team is Jimmy Horton, a champion in '87. You probably should have won it in '88. Do you have what it takes to win it today?
Oh, yeah. We just need the rain to hold off, and we can run Dave down and beat him.
All right, you've got a very confident and a champion team put together here for Super Dirt Week. But there's an individual who cannot be ignored. He's the master of the mile.
Brett Hearn. the corporate jet.
Ladies and gentlemen,
No one has dominated Northeastern dirt track modified racing in the 90s like Fred Hearn. Cool, calculating, and confident. 4 times he has tasted victory in the Wheels 300.
Fred Hearn is the perfect example of the philosophy that the race does not always go to the swiftest. Well, Brett, you don't have the fastest car again. You've won here before in that position. Can you do it again?
Well, that wasn't the way we planned it. We wanted to come back here and have a car that dominated the field, but it wasn't to be this year. We're starting around 21st. We've got a long ways to go, but this race has been won from last. And last year we were out of it most of the race and we still won it. So, I mean, it changes a million times, and with the weather and everything else we've got to deal with today, anything can happen.
A microcosm of your year, by your standards, an off year. Do you need Syracuse to save this season?
Well, we've had a fairly good year, a little bit off of last year, but when you set the standards that we set last year, it's hard to match those every year, you know. And so we come back and we come back from a 38-win season, and we'll have maybe a 24, 25-win season this year. Bad season, but we can live with it.
The all-time most successful driver in this Syracuse 300-kilometer event. Well, every drama has a plot. Here's Andy Fusco.
You've met the star players, the stage, a 1-mile oval in Syracuse, the audience 30,000 strong, and tonight, a plot twist. Day-long rains has pushed back the start of the event some 5 hours and has softened up the track significantly. The result, drivers scrambling for the proper setup. Outside pole sitter Joe Plazik completely changed the suspension on the car, tightening up everything. He thinks the other drivers will be loose. Inside pole sitter Dave Blaney, he didn't do anything to his ride. He hopes the track will come to him in the later laps. How will the drama play out? We'll find out on Prime right after this.
The Wheels 300 is brought to you by Wheels Discount Auto Supply Stores, Phased Drugs, obviously not your average drugstore, Champion Spark Plugs, and the Cooper Automotive family of brands, Sunoco Race Fields, and by Chevrolet. One automotive company has won more races over the last 30 years than any other. Genuine Chevrolet.
A rain-soaked day has turned into a beautiful fall evening here in Syracuse.
It's been a day-long process to get this track in condition. Here's what the track looks like. As you can see, very wide in the front stretch. The danger areas coming out of corner number 2, then narrowing down into that tunnel into corner number 3. You see the track is only 45 feet wide, and you charge in there well over 100 miles per hour.
The top 6 starting positions decided during Wednesday's qualifications.
And the rest of the field through a complicated formula, but the most important point is this is the race that every one of these drivers wants to make.
All right, let's take a look at the starting field. On the pole, sprint car driver Dave Blaney in the Duchess Overhead Doors number 10. Outside row 1 having his most successful year ever, the number 1 of Canadian Joe Plazik. Row 2 in the Wheels number 91, the Franklin Flyer, Billy Decker. Joining Decker, second place finisher in 91 and the fourth place finisher in 93, the Hurricane Steve Payne. Row 3 starts with the man who's captured 4 track championships in 94, former winner number 9, Bob McCready. And outside row 3, a solid veteran and co-champion at Lebanon Valley. He finished 6th here last year, Dickie Larkin.
A look at the rest of the field, a lot of former winners. You can see A.J. Johnson is in there. Danny Johnson, probably the most successful dirt driver ever, who has never won this race. Jeff Hetzler starts back in row number 11. Here's a man who's had success here, but never in this big race. Frank Cozy, runner-up. Rick Mill starting back in the 14th row. The fastest qualifying rookie, Craig Jackson, another rookie. He's had a great week. There's Luke Plant. He won the non-qualifiers race yesterday, one of the final drivers to move into the starting lineup. 14 rookies in this race in all, 8 former champions, 48 cars in all.
We're inside Bob McCready's PNC Coke in-car camera.
Bob McCready, a man who has won this race before. He's coming off, as we told you earlier, his most successful year ever. He says he doesn't need to win Syracuse to top it off. But you know what, Doug? I think he kind of does.
Larry, it's rained all day. Let's talk track conditions. Is the track in prime shape, and how confident will these drivers be to put the pedal to the metal once the green flag flies?
Confidence? I don't think none at all. We have a real unknown factor in this racetrack. The track is much wetter than it's been all weekend long. We've put a lot of effort into getting this track into racing conditions, but the drivers have not been on this speedway this week when it's anything like this. It's been a pretty great weather week as far as Syracuse goes. This is a very anxious moment for all these drivers.
And we have a chance to take a look at our in-car cameras. This is Dougie Hoffman's, the champion spark plug Cooper Automotive family of brands in-car cam, as we're getting set to go racing here in Syracuse.
Hoffman, one of many drivers who has come close to winning the big show here at Syracuse, but didn't pull it off. Had he stayed on the track 2 years ago when the rains hit, he would have won, but he didn't, and young Toby Tobias Jr. took the checkered flag.
All eyes on the front row. Dave Blaney and Joe Plosick. Dave Blaney out of Cortland, Ohio. Qualifying time of 114.811 miles per hour. He's the man to beat as they come out of turn 4 and roar down the front straightaway. The green flag is out, and the 1994 Wheels 300 is on. Into turn 1, Dave Blaney takes the lead.
And they are literally now doing what they've been doing figuratively all week, and that is chasing Dave Blaney as we look out over the Wheels in-car camera shot from Billy Decker. You can see the sun setting in the background, nice pink sky. Well, that's what's happening, Mr. Blaney. He, too, is disappearing in the sunset.
And on the rise, you can see barefoot Bob McCready closing in on Billy Decker.
There's McCready going to the inside looking. You can see the sun setting in the background. He may have a lane now. He gets to the inside. That's McCready going down the long front stretch, charging into corner number 1, and McCready makes an early race move on Billy Decker.
Now, Bob McCready won this event in 1986. He's come close in the past. He's had good cars, but a series of bad breaks have kept him out of victory lane.
Well, it's not always the swiftest. We've mentioned that a couple of times already in this broadcast, who wins this race. A lot of strategy goes into winning at Syracuse.
Now Bob McCready trying to close in on Joe Plosick. Here's a look at Chris Moore and Brett Hearn. That's a battle for 19th place.
Great story here with Chris Moore. He had a theft and a fire this year that was set apparently by the perpetrator. Totally wiped out his race team, but the entire racing community has gotten behind this guy after the tragedy in Canada at midsummer, kept him on the racetrack, and here he is in the big show and running inside the top 20.
Incredible. Less than 6 months after the catastrophe, here he is racing wheel to wheel with Brett Hearn. Now back to the front of the pack, and look at Dave Blaney.
Oh, remarkable. Blaney already into lap traffic. Now here is Bobby Hearn, brother of Brett Hearn, but crew chief of Dave Blaney. And Bobby, you can see an anxious look on his face. He's saying to his race driver, look, you've got the best car, you're in heavy traffic, just be careful.
Bobby has modified the Olsen chassis that Blaney is driving specifically for Syracuse.
Now, Blaney is recognized among all of his peers as a great traffic driver. He spends the year going back and forth across this country running the powerful World of Outlaw sprint cars. Here's Canadian Joe Plosick.
This is the battle for second place. Joe Plosick and Bob McCready trying to close in as they're back on the front straightaway out of turn 4.
Plosick was very fast again in 1994. He sat on smoke coming from Plosick's car early on in this race. This could be a telling moment for the Canadian driver who sat on the pole last year and had one of the fastest cars this year too.
Just a terrible hard luck break, and it's been a tough week for Joe Plosick. Despite starting second in this field, he has gone through 4 motors this week, with this one being number 4.
Doug, qualifying is actually over a 2-day period, and Joe had the fastest overall time, and his backup car was the 19th fastest overall. So this guy knows how to go fast at Syracuse, but it's come apart for him early on here in 1994.
The yellow flag is out in Syracuse as Joe Plosick heads to the pits.
Plosick, who is ranked 12th on the list of all-time lap leaders, looks like his day may be over.
We're early at Syracuse. Dave Blaney leads, then it's Bob McCready, Billy Decker, Steve Payne, and Richard Tobias.
More from the Wheels 300 on Prime after this.
We're back in Syracuse on Prime, the Wheels 300. We're early in the race, but Joe Plosick is done.
riding with barefoot Bob McCready. McCready slips out a little bit. That's lap traffic moving underneath him. Oh, there goes Billy Decker. That's a pass for position. Bob McCready, who worked so hard early on in this race, loses out to Billy Decker. That's a change inside the top 5.
Billy Decker now in second place. He finished 7th in 1989. His sponsor, of course, is the major sponsor for this race, so he would like nothing better than to take home the checkered flags.
Bit of irony about Billy Decker, with whom you're riding. As great as this man is, as well as he has done in DIRT competition, in his career he's led only 1 lap at Syracuse.